This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitsky. We begin with an officer-involved shooting this morning that left the suspect injured. It happened around 1 this morning, according to Shafter Police. Officers responded to a car that crashed into a house on Minter Avenue near Walnut Street. Police say officers confronted the driver. That's when the shooting happened. Police say the suspect was transported to the hospital and no officers were hurt. Police have not released any other details at this time. By our count, this is the 9th officer-involved shooting this year. Last year, Kern County had 22 officer-involved shootings. Well, we now know the name of the man shot and killed in East Bakersfield Tuesday night. According to the Kern County Sheriff's Office, it happened on Hill Street near Sierra Middle School. Deputies say they found 23-year-old DeAndre Jaquel Johnson dead in a residential parking lot. According to KCSO, he had multiple gunshot wounds. Police have not released any information on a possible suspect at this time. By our count, this is the 94th homicide of the year, 15 in the month of August alone, making it Kern's deadliest month so far. And we now know the name of the skateboarder killed on Taft Highway. According to Bakersfield Police, a woman was driving on Taft Highway Tuesday night when she hit a skateboarder who was riding in the road. 25-year-old William Alejandro Romero died at the scene. The driver stayed at the scene, and BPD says she was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Now to Bakersfield homelessness crisis. Last night, City Council members talked about the city's successes, failures, and ongoing challenges in dealing with the issue. 17's Robert Price has been following this long-running conversation and files this report.
A few weeks ago, Bakersfield City Councilman Andre Gonzalez asked city staff to look at Bakersfield's existing homeless ordinances and compare them to a new anti-camping ordinance that went into effect this week in the city of Los Angeles, which has an estimated 41,000 unsheltered people. At Wednesday night's meeting, city staff, as well as others in the community tasked with managing the homeless issue, presented their findings, not just about the LA ordinance, but a complete report card of Bakersfield's progress. Much of the news was good. Just a few years ago, Bakersfield was trying to address local homelessness with a few $100,000 in federal pass-through funding. Now the city is spending from its own money $11 million a year in general fund Measure N dollars and seeing progress with rental assistance, a rapid rehousing program, and the addition of 400 new emergency shelter beds over the past 3 years. But where the city's homeless services, some of which are managed by Mercy House, have experienced failure, two recurring issues are turning up. This is Theo Dews of Mercy House.
This is the one blemish on our operations thus far, is that we've had so many self-exits. I suspect, based on my decades of experience in this profession, that the number one reason we have so many self-exits is impulsive and irrational decisions that are made based on mental illness or chemical addiction.
But as Homeless Collaborative Director Anna Levin said, the city has made incredible strides finding innovative, permanent housing solutions. Anthony Valdez, assistant to the city manager, said the city was looking at a possible fall expansion of the Brundage Lane Navigation Center, and the city may bring in some all-terrain vehicles to better police the riverbanks of the dry Kern River, where scores of people occupy illegal makeshift shelters. But does the city need additional ordinances based on strategies outlined in the new LA ordinance? Deputy City Attorney Joshua Rudnick said the staff's comparison to the two cities' approach suggests no.
So when it comes down to it, when you look at the LA ordinance and you look what we have on the books already, you know, the policies and provisions that we have and what the LA ordinance has, it doesn't provide any new enforcement tools.
The generally good news about Bakersfield's progress in addressing homelessness was tempered by Councilman Gonzalez's conclusion.
I mean, it's very clear, we are doing a lot, but it's also clear to folks throughout our community that the problem still persists, and that there are issues in every single neighborhood throughout the city.
Bakersfield clearly still has a way to go in housing its unsheltered population. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
Now in your 17 Health Watch today, a panel of speakers will discuss the devastating impacts of fentanyl addiction in Kern County. Bakersfield Recovery Services members and others, including 17's Robert Price, will take part in the discussion that will cover some of the local resources available to people struggling with addiction and substance abuse. A family that has lost a loved one to fentanyl overdose will also speak. The forum is scheduled for 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. tonight at New Wine Church on G Street. The event will be live streamed on the 17 News Facebook page. And a reminder, you can watch Robert Price's in-depth look on the rising use of fentanyl here in Kern County and the lives the deadly drug has taken. Just head to kget.com/fentanyl for Robert's 5-part series, Fentanyl, the Counterfeit Killer. Well, September is National Suicide Prevention and Recovery Month. In observance of the month, the Kern County Administrative Building on Truxtun Avenue was lit up in purple and teal. Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services says after an especially tough year, it's important we get help for those struggling with substance abuse or suicidal thoughts.
We saw more of our youth dying by suicide. These are terrible things. They impact everybody. They impact entire communities. So asking for help, asking somebody if they need help is the first step. It is so important because there are resources out there to help everybody.
Here are the numbers to call if you need help. Kern County's 24-hour crisis line is 1-800-991-5272, and the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. An update now on the French fire burning in the Kern River Valley. The fire is still 43% contained and continues to grow slowly, now at nearly 26,000 acres. The French fire is believed to have been human-caused and started in the mountains west of Lake Isabella on August 18th. And a reminder, you can see all of our coverage of the French fire, including up-to-the-minute updates on evacuation orders and how to donate to the Red Cross as it provides food, shelter, and security to those impacted by the fire. Just head to our website, kget.com. Meantime, President Joe Biden has approved an emergency declaration in California as a result of the Caldor fire. The president's declaration clears the way for a large amount of federal resources to aid firefighting and recovery efforts related to the Caldor fire. The fire ignited on August 14th. Since then, it has burned more than 210,000 acres and is just 25% contained. Well, taking a look around town, your help is needed to provide daily care for shelter pets. Kern County Animal Services say they need volunteers to help with basic animal care for shelter pets on a daily basis as needs have grown quickly. Even though their volunteer program ended abruptly at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, small numbers of volunteers have been assisting with tasks on a limited basis. Animal Services is specifically looking for volunteers for dog and cat care. Animal lovers interested in volunteering can submit an application to volunteer through the department's website. And now to a story we told you about earlier this summer. A local Rite Aid has been competing with Rite Aids across the country to raise money for Children's Miracle Network. Now, the first place store nationally would receive an additional $25,000 for their local Children's Miracle Network hospital, ours being the Lawrence Small Children's Center at Bakersfield Memorial Hospital. And we're very happy to report that the Rite Aid store at Olive Drive and Jewetta took first. Now, across the nation, Rite Aids were able to raise over $956,000.
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.